Six keys to powerful story. Estella story is perfectly illustrated with six key ingredients that give a story their power. First is the story tap into emotions. The best stories trigger an emotional response which is key to provoking empathy in our audience and unlocking decision making. Research suggests that key emotionally charged events carry for more weight and persistent in our memory than ordinary neutral events for more one on the role of emotions. Story put a face. Second is the story put a face on an issue. In the end, nobody cares about process or programs. They care about people. So if you can embody your idea, your initiative, your brand is a key. Your brand in a great character that people can relate to, you are going to have more success. Third is the story connect us. Most people have never stepped foot in a candy factory, but they can still identify with a Stella story. Why? Because it is not about candy manufacturing, it is about a mom looking out for the health and well-being of her children's smoothing. Most of us can relate to. Stories humanize us. The story we tell offer a glimpse into who we are and what we value, and that highly appeal. It's especially important for leaders. People wants to follow humans, not machines. Five is they raise the stake. Five is they raise the stakes. The Estla story is not about manufacturing standards or error rates. It is about health and safety and love and family. Story raise up out of the everybody and the mundane appealing instead to universal value that bring us all together. Sixth is the story are about so don't tell. One of my instructor put it कि actors express themselves through actions. They why they are called actor, not talkers. It is better to show us कि who you are and what you are stand for than to just tell us about it. And that's one of the things story do best. Defeating Match.com syndrome. The principle of so don't tell is the antidote to something I call Match.com syndrome. If you spend time on any dating site, you will find that everyone describes themselves the same way. They say they are funny, intelligent, and adventurous. Adventures. Who do that what these kind of generic claims are ineffective because everyone makes them. Plus, few of us are objective judges of our own stellar quality. But so don't tell means that instead of saying you are funny, be funny. Instead of saying you are intelligent, talk about the last book you read. Instead of saying you are adventurous, post a picture of that whitewater rafting trip you look. All of those things together are going to paint a much more compelling and credible picture of who you are than any of the common labels we apply to ourselves, which we do all the time as individual and as organization. I am resourceful, I am reliable, I am creative, or we offer personal attention, we provide the highest quality, we care. Story proof to these claims and they set us apart because anyone can talk about service excellence but nobody else has your particular story about the overjoyed customers and the employee who bent over backward to personally solve her issue. A lesson from the Godfather. The discussion leads us to the Godfather films, which any fan tell you offer lessons for practically every circumstance in life. In the opening scenes of the first film, we instantly recognize that Don Vito Corleone is a man to be reckoned with, dressed in a tuxedo. He sits stoically in a darkened room behind a big desk, patiently listening to a nervous man pleading for his help. It's alright there in a story, so don't tell. Now, what if the movie opened with the Don saying, "Welcome to my office. I am the most powerful leader of the five families. How can I use my vast criminal empire to crush your enemy today, that would not be particularly effective or entertaining. Always challenge yourself to dispense with the hollow claim and tell a story instead. On your website, don't just say your people provide hands-on attention. Tell us about the senior VP rolling up his sleeves and working away with the rest of team. During a sales pitch, don't just talk about quality. Tell us about the customers who gave you that five-star review. In a job interview, don't just say कि you are dependable. Tell us कि how you worked all night to meet an impossible deadline. Whether you are selling, interviewing, or just representing yourself in the marketplace, offer people something say people something they cannot refuse, a specific story that lends powerful to your words. Chapter second. What is a story? When जब I ask workshop audience to define a story for me, I get as many answers as there are people in the room. Some say कि a story is a journey or an experience or a happening. Others says कि a story is about conflicts or that a story has beginning, a middle, and an end. The last one is my personal favorite, and it's appear frequently in कि how to article or storytelling. Yes, a story must have a beginning, a middle, and an end, but there are a lot more it than that. For instance, if I wanted to get to Carnegie Hall, I know practice and I entered to destination into my navigation app. It would not be all the helpful if the direction said in the beginning leave your garage, in the middle drive at 06 miles, in the end arrive at 881 7th Avenue, New York. So how do you get your from point A to point B? So how you get you from there to B? You need a structure. A simple structure for telling anyone. A colleague was writing a book on storytelling and his research turned up 82 different definitions of story, which goes to show you there really are no wrong answer to question what is a story. After all that work, the definition he settled on was similar to the one I learned at Chicago famed Second City, the birthplace of comic legend from Joan Rivers to John Belushi to Tina Fey. And no, Tina and I did not share a stage. I was one of the thousands of ordinary people enrolled at his training center to study the art of improvisation and sketch comedy. In its simplest form, a story is a character in pursuit of a goal in the face of some challenges or obstacles. How the character tries to resolve that challenge drives the narrative. Now, you could argue that key resolution is a fourth element to story structures, but I think that implicit. After all, if you are talking about overcoming a challenge to achieve a goal, it has to resolve in some way. Now, there are undoubtedly other elements of story, a turning point, climax, denouement, and more. But character, goal, and challenge are the three legs of the stool. Without these three, you don't have a story. Plus, there is just an easier number to manage. An audience member once told me he went to a seminar that taught 8 ingredients for storytelling. He said he could not remember any of them, but was pretty sure he could nail these three. Story structure at work. Since people initially respond to story whether they can define them or not, getting the structure right is essential to success. So let's look at a few examples to help bringing these principles to life. In the story I told in the previous chapter about the candy factory, our character is Australia and her goals is to turn out a quality product. The challenge she faces is how to maintain her focus on quality in the face of such a repetitive, some might say boring task. Watching package of gum go by all day. Estella resolved that challenges by thinking of her customer being as important to her as her own child. In Romeo and Juliet, our characters are two naming young lovers. Their goal is to be together, and the challenge they face is the blood feud that divided their family. Whether they resolve this challenge is up to you and your own belief. They do end up together, right? In depth, if you note the afterlife, be aware of what you wish for.